So I just want to make this small video for the module PN4035. Now, in this module, we're discussing, I suppose, design decisions as well as material choice. Now, a bit of an example here for you are two similar products. Actually, one is a knockoff of the other one. One is a real AirPod Pro by Apple, and now both of these units are actually broken. As you can see here, this is the real one, and here is the fake version. Now what you'll notice is they actually look extraordinarily similar between the two. Don't mind the bits of scuffs and damage, but overall they're extremely similar, even with the writing saying the same thing. The writing in the inside of the doors saying the same thing, as well as the writing within the actual earpod themselves along here, as well as left and right written on the stem itself. Another thing we'll notice is, do you see how there's bits of dirt accumulating here, here, and on the sides? As well as that, you'd often see it accumulating here inside where the stem sits down into, as you can see here. And the reason for that is because there's magnets embedded inside here, above here, below here, and on the sides and down inside here, for both holding the AirPod inside as well as holding the lid closed. So what ends up happening is any magnetic material gets caught in between there, and then it starts to wear in and actually damage the white case itself. Now, interesting enough, the two different manufacturers for this, really the goal was for the fake knockoff was to get as close as a product as possible so that they could either emulate what the original product had, or to even fool you that it is that product itself. Now, it's actually extremely hard to tell by looking directly at these proportion wise, as well as the writing, as well as everything looks nearly dead on. Even when you have them side by side, there's only faint differences, like the brightness of the text. It's actually quite lighter on the fake, or on the real one, in comparison to the fake one is a good bit brighter. One thing that I do notice between the two is the quality of the hinge. The quality of the hinge on the real one is a lot nicer than the fake one. But what really sets these apart is when you look at the hardware on the inside. Now, you will be able to tell quite clearly from the software capabilities, having them side by side, actually using them. But just talking about hardware for now. So if we actually look at the real one here, you can see that I've been prying at it previously. So if I pop this open, like so, these products are notoriously hard to get into because they're not really designed to be repaired. Okay, as we can see, we have the actual section that holds the stem, and then we have an inner section which should lift out also. So if I actually pull on this, there we go. Now, one thing we'll notice here is, if we pull this out of the way, is that we have our dual batteries all in black, back here and back here, and then we have the motherboard as well as our ribbon cables. Now this looks quite Apple-esque, the layout as well as the ribbons and the quality of the manufacturing and assembly. We can even see that the lightning port down the bottom is actually a separate assembly, and with two screws you can take that out and change it. We can also see that we have a variety of different ribbon cables which attach to the motherboard itself to connect for the charging, as well as for connection from the battery to the motherboard, as well as the lightning cable all the way up to the motherboard for charging. Now we can also see the magnets embedded here, which are the ones that pull the AirPods in. We can also see another magnet here and here, which, as well as up here, which basically hold the lid closed. Now that's very, very Apple-esque. Now to show you something, another Apple product, this is actually the inside shell of two previous Apple products. You can also see there's a similar kind of this black theme, as well as it seems to be very, very cleanly put together and assembled. Same as over here, you can see. If you have the battery there, it actually looks very, very similar to the batteries presented here with that black cover and bit of writing. Now, if we actually look at our knockoff product, this one here and we open it up, we'll have a different story. Now, one thing fake products tend to do is they want to simulate nearly everything of the genuine product. That includes weight. So if you actually felt the two of these side by side, the weight is extremely similar between the two. Okay, I can see already here the hinge is not as robust as the one developed here on the actual real product itself. Now if we pull this out, we can see that there is a large chunk of metal actually inside here underneath the motherboard. So let's pull this out. That's the motherboard itself, which just came apart. And then we have our wireless charging module. The other one here is actually kept nice and securely in behind. We have our battery. Looks very, very different, and it's quite small, and it's just a single unit in comparison to our dual unit in the OEM. And now one thing I want you to take notice of here, if we look at this big chunk of metal, all this is basically additional weight added to it to simulate quality. So obviously, you know, with the quality, better materials being used here, the weight naturally increases. But with this product, because it was so light without the weight itself, so if I just held all the individual components, it's actually extraordinarily light in comparison to the OEM model. Also, I can see that the board itself is nothing, it doesn't look like anything out of an Apple product, having this kind of a blue, let's get this to focus, this kind of blue board is not typical for Apple products. And also we can see that the actual wiring itself is quite poorly put together, the bare minimums to get it working. Also we can see the battery is not like the typical lithium battery you have, and it's quite small in comparison to the other two. Now it doesn't have written what amperage, or sorry, what capacity this actual battery is, but I can tell by just looking at it, it's quite small. We can see that there's a little circuit board that's connected inside here as well to help the charging. So you can actually say from here back is the battery itself. Also, we can see we have the magnets embedded here and here, which hold the AirPods in here and here. And then we can see additional magnets here on the sides, which close the case. You can also see the buildup of material around those points. So for me, when I'm doing welding, often bits of metal get stuck to these sections where the magnets are, and then they rub as soon as you have that lid closed. Now, interestingly enough, I'm also going to pull apart the fake AirPod, the AirPods themselves. I won't pull apart the real one because that's the only one that's still working and I can use it for parts. But if I pull apart the fake one here, should just clip out. There we go. We can again see something that's not very Apple-esque. That little button battery which is being charged here. And we can also see our drivers. All of them don't look like something that would be in an Apple product. And really what they're doing is trying their best to emulate, I suppose, the original product itself